because I need to talk about this. All right, so where do I begin? I'm walking out my door. I get to the corner, right? And I make a left. And as I'm walking up, I'm going towards the store. I'm just going to the corner store. I wanted to get me a bag of chips, and I had another mission to go get me a coffee. I wanted a coffee. I had a coffee. It's freezing up here in the Northeast right now. I think today's high was something like 12 degrees, right? And so I'm going to take this slow as people come in or whatever the case may be. If you watch this on the rebroadcast, just stay with me. So I'm walking halfway up the block, and as I'm getting towards the store, I see a woman walking in the middle of the street. Now I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, well, maybe she's trying to get across the street, but then I see her keep going straight. So I'm like, okay, she goes through the light, cars are beeping at her. She keeps going straight again. And I'm like, this woman is walking literally in the middle of traffic. There's traffic right here. There's traffic right here. So you got northbound traffic, southbound traffic, and she's walking right in the medium of the middle. So at first, when she was walking, and she kept walking in the middle, I said, well, maybe she's just being a jerk. And then I started seeing that she wasn't leaning out of the way of the cars. You understand what I'm saying? Like even someone, I've seen people do that before, and they usually do it in NY. And if you guys are wondering why I got this on, I just came inside the house. I literally just came in here and went live because honestly and truthfully, I had to talk about this because it's more to this than that. Let me share this again too. What I want you guys to understand the concept of is what was really going on there, and it's deep. What was really going on there, and I think what was really going on was that young lady was actually, she had just recently got kicked out of somewhere, and I could tell it. But let me finish the story. So I keep continuing to see her walk in the middle of the street until she gets to the second light. And when she gets to the second light, she decides where you guys see me start filming to sit down in the middle of traffic. So I'm like, oh my God, man, I can't do this. Now, if at first, if she would have kept walking, I'm not even gonna hold you. I would have let her do what she was doing. Because I said, this is a woman that's conscientious of what she's doing. But to sit down in the middle of traffic and know there is a possibility that a car could hit you understand what I'm saying? Is a whole different element. So what I did once I saw her sitting down, I said to myself, I said, yo, you know what? Just go. I always got a whistle name ready to roll, but I just have to push the button to say go live. And so I start recording. Now the reason I record is not to embarrass her what somebody wrote in the comment and your comment got retracted, dummy, and I blocked you. I didn't do it for that. I did it because it was the right thing to do. You understand what I'm saying? Don't let confuse you what I get on here and say sometimes as far as like based on relationships and stuff like that, hold me accountable, full of solidarity of like, okay, if I saw one of you in the car wreck, I ain't gonna help pull you out if the car's burning or something like that. I'm not that type of guy. You know what I mean? So I walk over to her for my own safety. That's why, excuse me. That's why I started recording because I said, I don't know if she'll jump up and attack me or whatever, whatever. I don't know what mode this woman is in. She's sitting in the middle of traffic. Now she's sitting in the middle of traffic where, if you guys can see in the video, not only do you have north and southbound traffic, but you also have east and westbound traffic. You understand what I'm saying? So there's four waves of traffic coming. So the possibility of them seeing that woman sitting there in the middle of the road. When if you guys want to see the video, it's right down below. You can click off here and go see it. Or two, you can go and just click in the description box right there, and it's right there too. And just fast forward it a little bit or whatever if it seems to be so much of a drag. It's about 2 minutes long. So I walk over to her and I ask her because I know what it feel like to be in that death salute. So I said to her, I said, yo, if you hear me in the video, I said, yo, mom, you all right? Like, you okay? You know? And this is the thing that also bothered me. There were dozens of people sitting around and nobody offered to say anything to this woman. Nobody offered to walk up to this woman. Nobody offered anything of any type of consolement or, hey, are you all right? Like I did. And that, upon seeing that over a dozen times, made me be more like, okay, let me go, you know what I'm saying? See what's going on here. Plus, I would look like a dummy for letting this woman, even half black, half Cuban, whatever. I would look like a dummy and a fool if I didn't say something to that woman and try to see what she was on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, I'm spending Christmas by myself. I don't have no presents, no nothing. You understand? So I understand what it's like to be in that destitute, but I do got somewhere to stay. I think somebody kicked that girl out. And the reason I say that is because she had 3 bags with her on her back. It is literally 8 degrees outside. When I was outside, as y'all can see, the sun was going down. So the high today was like 13 degrees outside. Plus, there's a strong wind blowing along with it, which makes it even cold. Plus, I live on top of a huge, huge hill and like huge hill. So I'm like, oh my God. So I asked her next, I said, yo, you'll hear me in the video. I said, yo, you want coffee? You want something to eat? Like, you know what I mean? I'm ready to do all that. I ain't even got it to do it, but I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? I get you whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what it feel like. So I'm just like, let me fall back. And y'all can't hear in the video, but she's responding to me. The reason y'all can't hear it, but if you turn it up, maybe you can hear it a little bit better. The reason you can't hear it that well because there's 4 lanes of traffic coming. There's traffic coming from one end, traffic coming from another end, traffic coming north, south. And then there's an intersection right there where you can go right or left for the southbound traffic. Like you guys don't understand. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yo, I asked her all that or whatever. She's responding to me is the point. And she's like, no, I'm okay. I said, I really wanted to say, no, I don't think you are. But then that might have been when the moment she leaned back in the middle of the street and just laid down flat and nobody could see until they ran over her. Now, if you were in a high truck or something like that, it's the same thing. Somebody could have hit her. You understand? And I really feel like it was divine intervention. I really think, listen, I wasn't even going to go out. That's first of all. I got off my live and I was like, yo, you know what? I want a coffee. It just popped in my mind. I want a coffee. I didn't really want a coffee, but it just popped in my mind. I wanted a coffee. So I walked down there with the intention of grabbing my coffee, grabbing me some chips at the store, coming back home. I did not set up for that. And I honestly and truthfully believe this. Y'all can believe whatever you want to. That was divine intervention on my part. That was divine intervention on my part because it was at least 12 people out there walking and cars and everything. They cared nothing about that woman. They cared nothing about that woman. They were beeping the horns, as y'all can hear in the video, everything else or whatever, because this woman decided to lay down. And me being the only man out there that's like this, and she's like this, it would have looked stupid if I didn't say nothing to her, if I ain't do nothing, or at least try to partially intervene. Now, one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to at any point, you don't want to really walk close up on a person that's in that mode. You don't sometimes they're destined to do what they want to do. I'm not a professional. So in that regard of that type of arbitrage, so it's like that's not for me. But what I will say is if you don't say something, at least something, then you weak. And I don't care. Like, listen, I ain't gonna make no excuses for a lot of black women or online talking crazy or whatever the case may be. And I don't care if you're in a burning car. I don't care if the elevator shaft is stuck and it's getting ready to fall, whatever. If I can help you, I'm gonna help you. And I mean it sincerely. And I mean that for my Latina sisters too. If I can help you, I'm gonna help you. You know, I still got that much for you in that regard. I just don't like a lot of the stuff that y'all do, a lot of advocacies like this Meg Thee Stallion thing and everything else. But I want to segue into something real quick because I want to know one, who kicked her out on Christmas Eve? That's one. Had she not been in that state and I had seen her somewhere, I'd be like, yo, go sleep in the living room or something like that. Hey, what's going on, Kira? No. I would have been like, go sit in the, sleep in the living room or something like that. If it was just a situation of her being cold. But I think it was a combination of her being cold. It is like 8 degrees out there. Her being cold. The second thing I think it was this. I think it was her being cold. And also another thing, which is, I think it was the situation she was in. The girl had 3 bags with her. 3 bags on her back. They had to be heavy. And you can barely breathe when it's cold up here like that. Y'all don't know how cold Connecticut get. We're surrounded by water, a lot of water, like the Atlantic Ocean it leads out to where I used to live at. So, and this part down here is the same thing. We got a ferry, and all that stuff. So it's real cold. I can walk to the beach. You know what I mean? And that's basically the Atlantic Ocean and all the channels that surround the Atlantic Ocean from that point. This used to be a whaling state. Like they used to do whaling and they used to do a lot of shipping and stuff like that. So there's a lot of water ports everywhere on this part of the Connecticut. Not so much on the other side of Connecticut, but right here is the shoreline. So it's extremely cold. I'm just saying, or I tell you how extremely cold it is outside. But I don't know if it was God or what it was or whatever. But something just told me, yo, go say something to her. And that's what I did, you know. And I would have been less of a man if I did do that for my own regard, not for her, not for the crowds, not for anybody else or whatever. But I want to say this to that stupid person who wrote that comment. And this is the only reason I'm going live with this. For that silly person who wrote that comment, look here, you don't like me. You understand what I'm saying? And that's cool. I don't understand why you will follow someone you don't like. I don't understand why you will follow someone you're not going to donate to or anything else. But that's cool. They show up when you got 13K followers. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to use this to say this one time. There's a problem going on with the mental state of a lot of women in general, but particularly Black and Spanish women. And I'm seeing it more and more and more play out. A lot of it has to do with a lot of these women are in debt. A lot of these women are living in situations where they don't want to expose where they're living at and how they're living. They're usually staying with someone. It's very expensive for rent right nowadays. So I saw a report. This girl says she's worked 2 jobs in Miami. She still can't afford an apartment in Miami. She making $18 on one and $21 on the other one, you know? And a lot of people are not as fortunate to, you know, be in this situation, whatever. That brings a lot of stress. It brings a lot of confusion in your mind. It brings a lot of destitute and a whole bunch of other things. And I just want to say to that woman, I don't know if you'll ever see this video, you'll ever see me again, but I want you to know I meant every word that I said. I told her before I walked out, I said, if you see me around and you need something, just holler at me. You know what I'm saying? If I got it, I help out or whatever. But there's a problem mentally with a lot of these girls, and it's reflecting on their behavior online. I think their behavior online has a lot to do with it. It induces them more and more each day to become narcissists. And it's intrusive to say that. For some people will say, oh, you're prying too deep. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not at all. Because as quick as you can claim me as your men or our men or group me in a category or whatever, right? As quick as I can do the same for you. And I'm saddened by the fact that a lot of these girls are not only becoming suicidal, but like I talked about earlier, there's 2 incidences happening within 2 weeks in New York City, right down the street here, and it involved the homeless shelter. Underline that, the homeless shelter or homeless services, and it involved that and 2 people getting killed. One set was 2 kids that got killed, and they were put under a blanket in the bathroom, in the bathtub. And they laid there for a few days, and this woman had killed her kids. She's in destitute in the situation she was in. It's obvious. She was staying at apartments, I guess, that were provided or something like that through the homeless shelter. Then, and they're very small from what I hear and what I've seen. I looked up myself just to see if I could get a diagram of the interior of it. They're very small places. So I could understand how she would be stressed already and then further stressed. Then the second situation that happened, it was like a week and 4 days. And it involved 2 women getting into an argument, again, a Black woman, and she stabbed up this chick and killed her in the freaking homeless shelter and even attempted to hide the body in the homeless shelter so she could escape. So she was conscientious of what she was doing to some degree. But at the same time, these are 2 women that, if you follow unilaterally what I'm saying here, that they were in season of destitute. Not to embarrass them, but they were in the homeless shelter system. And that goes to stand for a lot, because a lot of more women and children are coming into these places or whatever. A lot of women, they've never been in that situation ever before, so they don't even know where to go through, you know? So I have to blame that too, because the information out there is not so ready as people think. So I just want to say to that woman, man, I hope to God that whatever situation happened to you, I hope it quells. I just want to say to you also, you know, I meant every word that I said. I also want to say this, ladies, a lot of y'all have some mental issues going on. It's reflected. You are talking to strangers and saying whatever comes to your mind. You're talking to strangers. You don't know if these strangers are killers. You don't know if these strangers find your address, show up at your home, you know, kidnap your mother or your kid or something. You never know, you know. And if perspective online, that's what I'm seeing. Anybody that has the vulgarity to sit up there and type certain phrases, or whatever the case may be, celebrate someone's death, celebrate someone going to jail, there is something deeply wrong with that person. I don't care what you say. And I'm not trying to segue back into Meg Thee Stallion, but I had to point that out because many of the women that were writing those comments, I was like, you're deranged. You're freaking deranged. Like, I can imagine how you would be around people that know you. You understand, for one. But two, I could imagine how you would be like around people that know you and they don't like you. So I just want to tell a lot of women, if you see this, the same way you telling men out here to go out here and get some healing, which is a term that I'm going to get into because that has to do with a lot with Caribbean stuff and Greek stuff and Celtic stuff, that terminology healing. Y'all got to watch that terminology and start looking at the etymologies of these words. But please do. A lot of y'all spitting words, y'all don't even know what y'all talking about. You're just spitting them because you heard it as a language point. But I'm trying to tell you, a lot of these girls need some mental help. A lot of these girls are stressed out with kids. A lot of these girls are stressed out they ain't getting to the school they wanted to. A lot of these girls are stressed out they work at 2-3 jobs or whatever. And they becoming more and more and more this masculine every day. Like the girl I was talking to, I could tell in a regular conversation, she would be some trouble if she got mad. You're sitting in the middle of the street, not giving the care if you get hit by a car, anything else. You're walking in the middle of the street, not caring if you get. I'm not bagging on her. I'm telling you the obvious. I'm telling you the obvious. So when you hear some of these reactions, or when you hear some of these arguments or whatever, fellas, like I told you, just block these chicks. Don't get in engagements with them because if you do, you never know. That might have been the thing that took over the edge. And she go into the freaking basement and be like, all right, this is a wrap. She's walking in the middle of the street like that woman was, And it's sad to say like that, but hey, it is what it is, You out here telling men they need help, but I've seen women have podcasts telling men, oh, you need help, you need therapy. And then they'll have these cackling witch-like laughters as they're making jokes in the queue of a 12th grader. And you're like, this is not normal behavior. That's not normal. People don't talk like that in normal life. You know what I mean? And so a lot of these female vloggers, they attribute to behavior like you've seen right there. Please believe it. That girl had nice boots on. She had a nice coat on. That's why I said she looked like somebody just kicked her out or she got just displaced or something like that. Now, I'm glad I could say what I could say to her, but don't be hypocrites, ladies, and be out here telling men they need to be healed, they need to be helped, they need psychological. No, you need to be advocating to other women because there's a whole bunch of women out here that seem to be a lot more traumatized, a lot more far gone. That's not taking anything away from the men, but a lot more traumatized, a lot more far gone than a lot of these guys are. And that was I hate to say it like that, but that was an example right there. I've never seen nothing like that. I've seen guys do stuff like that, but they're not gonna do nothing. They just doing it to be a jerk, and that's what I thought she was doing. Yeah, I don't live in the New York City tri-state area. You could be at the stoplight, or Chicago, same way too. Georgia, I know they have it. Florida definitely always got it. Got the squeegee man. Squeegee man will catch you. They've been doing this hustle for like 20 years. Squeegee man will catch you when you at the light or something like that. Try to start wiping your windows. Philly like this too. Start wiping your windows and stuff like that, and hope you're gonna give them some change or whatever, But this was something different, and that scared me. That's why I said these stress factors is sometimes, ladies, a lot of times these guys, they don't want to get involved with you because they scared of shit like that. You get a girl that quickly flips out and she can't control herself, it's scary because as a man, and especially if you like my height, I'm like 6'3", B. Y'all can't tell or care, but I'm tall. And so it's like, as a man that's 6'3", 200 pounds roughly, or whatever, versus a woman that's like on an average 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", tops 5'9", you know what I mean? For my height, it's like a challenge. If she hits you or cuts you or throws something at you, what are you to do? Legally, you can protect yourself. But morally, the streets will judge you. It triggered your PT. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. That's yeah, you get me. You get me. You get me. Yeah, it did. So I'm just reading and commenting on something I read in the chat. Yeah, you understand. It did. And it scared me Because I'm like, yo, what if I see this woman get hit by a car right in front of me and it's on her own doing, you know? And it happens right in front of my eyes. Where does that leave me at? You know what I mean? That's another, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Plus, I actually gave a crap. You know, when you put all that stuff aside, YouTube and social media and how you feel sometimes aside personally or whatever, you put all that aside when you get situations like that. And if you're just now tuning in, I'll just give you a recap. There's a video and it's attached in the description box. I really don't want to reiterate this, but I'm going to do it anyway because you guys view me. Um, I was walking out the house. I'll try to summarize it a little bit quicker this time. I was walking out the house. I had not planned to go out. I like literally wasn't going out. I went out earlier to smoke a cigarette and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, you know what I mean? It's freezing up here in the Northeast. It was like the high today was 12 degrees. So I had no anticipation of going outside unless I was smoking a cigarette. And that's it. I don't smoke in here because there's kids in the building and stuff like that. They don't need to be breathing that crap. So, and neither do I for that matter. So I walk down the street. I literally get to the light, make a left, and I walk about maybe a quarter of a couple feet or whatever. I watch a woman walk into traffic. Like I watch her walk into the traffic, but I'm thinking because the traffic is still coming, she's actually just trying to like get across the street or whatever, right? Well, in reality, this woman kept walking straight. So I kept watching her because I was like, okay, she ain't crossed the street yet. You know what I mean? So she keeps walking. She gets to the first light and she goes right through that light. There's traffic coming from both ends on that end too. They can go left or right depending on which way they're going. So after that, right, she keeps walking straight again. Now, when she's walking straight, she keeps until she gets to the second light. And when she gets to the second light, she stops, literally drops all three of them bags that she's got and sits down in the middle of the street. And now there's traffic coming from four lanes, north and west, east and west, north and south, and each has an option to turn. So she's in danger now. And she's sitting in the middle of the street looking crazy. And I'm just like, yo, what? Like, and there's people around. Nobody says nothing. Nobody makes an attempt. And these are men. This one dude, he walks in front of me. And I remember his face too, because when I see him, I got a couple words for him, because you're a sucker. He was, what's going on, man? You see a woman sitting in the middle of the street and she could possibly get hit. You're like a 12-year-old little boy. I wanted to punch him in his face. I really did. I really wanted to just drop him. You know what I mean? Because I was like, yo, what kind of punk? If you a punk with this and you sitting there, you saying gee, and the woman that you with, I'm watching her, she walking into the bank. You ain't. She walking into the bank. So that means she going to get her cash to spend with you, sucker. You know what I'm saying? I told you, you got to watch these suckers out here. It'd be a lot of sucker men out here, whatever. You know who you are. They be fronting and stunting, spending their girl money. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, I don't know what's the word, flabbergasted or something like that. But I got all kinds of things going through my mind, and this sucker just happened to say that. I feel you. I don't need no credit for that. I don't need no credit for that. I don't need no credit for being a human. You know what I'm saying? But this is what I'm talking about. This empathy and lack of empathy for other people nowadays is crazy. You know what I mean? I'm a rough dude, but at the same time, like I know who I am, and I've never ever let some sucker stuff like that. I done broke up girl fights a million times across the country. Let me tell you, across the country, Florida, everywhere. It's not the point of that. It's the point of nobody stopped to see if this woman was all right. Nobody stopped to see if there was something they could do to help or whatever. And I really, truthfully believe if that was a white woman and she was walking in the middle of the street like that, there would have been tons of people that sat back and they would have said, oh, are you all right? Are you okay? They would have stopped the car, prayed with her. You understand what I'm saying? And everything else. And all these indoctrinated freaking like asymmetrical freaking assimilated weirdos that they have out here nowadays. They didn't care anything about this woman because she was a black chick. So I knew I was the only resource. And maybe that's why God sent me outside. Like I said, I was not going outside, B. And I would hate to have seen or heard later what happened if I had not gone outside. You see what I'm saying? I would have heard the story, maybe possibly, of her getting hit by a car. I don't want that on my conscience. And I definitely wasn't going to walk past her and have that on my conscience later on. You dig me? So Like, whatever it is, maybe God was trying to teach me a lesson. See, you got some purpose as far as like, things like that. I don't know, man. But yeah, it was just crazy. So just to conclude it, as I was coming back up the street from the store, the dude, I guess, had seen me from the garage or something like that. And he said to me, he said, yo, man, you're a good dude and blah, 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 blah. And he said, yo, right after you left, she got up like a couple of minutes, like a minute, maybe 30 seconds after that out of the traffic. So I was like, thank God. And she walked off on her own. I don't know where she's going to end up at or whatever, but it is cold out there. And that little frail woman, you saw how small she was. I'm cold and I was bigger than her. So I know she's freezing out there. This is a part of an incoming thing. So I'm trying to tell you, ladies, all y'all sitting back and y'all talking about, hey, I can't. Let me tell you this. If the gender war is an incentive so people will stop having kids as much as they have been previously, then the housing crisis is more of a reason why they're trying to test to see if families will get together under the struggle. You understand? I just told you the story of there's women out here that are getting kicked out of their homes, kicked out of the places they stay at, which I'm pretty sure happened with that woman because she had 3 bags with her. She had 3 bags. She had the book bag on, then she had a bag on each shoulder. If you walk too far out there, you can't even breathe that hard. You breathe that good because it's so cold. This is a different cold. This is from that storm that's around the country right now. So, give me a second. This woman and many other women like her are out here like that. The woman down in Miami said it took her 2 freaking jobs and she still can't afford a place. So that means you would need 2 incomes with 2 people with 4 incomes to actually afford. That would mean that you would make double. You understand what I'm saying? Women, you need a man. Because what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself in the destitute. Because a lot of y'all don't like to do that. I don't know if y'all seen that viral video that's going around. Homeboy said, yo, I need you to pick up a job because I'm getting less hours. She said, well, I use my money. I need you to help out. I use my money and my time for my modeling career. You knew what it was before you got with me. Man, listen, I would have been like, in this situation, that mama and them, I'm about to come over there, all right? That broad acting up. I've been paying the bills in here for a year while she get her modeling thing together. And when I need her, this is how she repays me, So there's a lot of women out here like that. A lot of chicks out here sleeping on a slice of bread, but got the most to say. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of chicks out here been sleeping on their homegirl sofa for the past 2 years, but they got IG pictures up every day. They got IG pictures up every day. They got OnlyFans pictures up every day. They got all that stuff. I'm trying to tell you. I know, listen, back when I was in the business, I saw how rough the girls were living. And the hotels and everything like that in New York were cheaper at that time. So, and Miami and everywhere else. They would be like 6 in the room. Ask any of my comrades who used to run with me, they're going to tell you the same thing. It used to be like 6 of them chicks in the room, even at the nicest hotel. It'd be like 6 or 7 of them in the room. The most we ever had was 2 people in each room. You know what I'm saying? And the rooms were nice. Usually we had nice rooms and a couple of cases, junior suites, you know what I mean? So trust me, a lot of these girls out here that are taking these pictures, they live in double life. They pretending that they one type of person, in reality, another type of person. But it's thousands of them. Thousands of them. And that's why I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of girls out here that have mental issues and things going on in their life, and they're not letting you aware of it via social media. They can't let you aware of it social media because it will destroy their brand. You know what I mean? And all that crap. So, it's tragic, but I hope that chick, she gets some reclose, and it's just sad that I seen her like that, and I can understand why she would feel like that. Like I said, I'm by myself for Christmas Eve. I ain't got no presents. You can't imagine how crappy it feels when you go and get offline and you see nobody's donated to you, anything like that. So I can understand how she feels. Not to mention, it was a situation I had on my personal end that I can identify with. But sweet, you got to go get help. That's not good. When you're in a space like that where you want to harm yourself or just let anything happen, you gotta really, really get some help soon, because that's not gonna turn into anywhere good. So peace to her. I hope I see her again and able to have a conversation with her, maybe buy a coffee or something like that. We just kick it and see what happens. But I just wanted to let y'all know what happened, because somebody had wrote in the comment. I said, well, my routine is if one dummy writes in the comments, it's gonna be about 4, 5 dummies. And so this person wrote, you ain't have to film her and all this. Like, you don't even know the reason I started. I didn't film it to embarrass her. I filmed it, one, for example, two, to make sure I was safe. You understand? Say she would have flipped out and she had a blade or a gun. You know what I mean? Y'all wouldn't have known what happened, right? So, gotta think. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.